but it also lowered the penalties for many illegal substances in the state. This was in response to a Pew study which discussed prison overcrowding and the cost of incarceration. It was approved by the Arkansas House and Senate and championed by Governor Beebe. What is your take on this bill, and do you think Governor Beebe is taking a step in the right direction?
Yes, he is. And Governor Beebe and the state legislature moved in the right direction. Arkansas, the legislature passed and the governor signed intelligent legislation that was based upon good, hard evidence about public safety, reducing prison populations, saving taxpayer dollars. My guess is that this is an area probably where Asa and I probably agree more than we disagree. I mean, one thing I'll say for Asa is that among Republicans and conservatives, he was among the first to point out the injustice of the federal crack cocaine laws and to advocate for changing those laws, and there was a powerful coalition that resulted in reforming that area. I'll also say that when Asa mentioned the organization, Right on Crime, that he's a part of, it's really two sorts of people. Some of them are Republicans and conservatives who basically just want to reduce the criminalization of white-collar crime. But there's a broader group that really cares about reducing incarceration of poor people and rolling back on these harsh drug sentences. What we're seeing around the country, from Democratic governors like Cuomo and Brown to Republican governors like Mitch Daniels in Indiana or Governor Deal in Alabama or Governor Christie in New Jersey, everybody's struck by both the injustice and the ridiculous expense of locking up more and more Americans. That's why we're seeing that last year was the first time in the last 30, I think, that we saw a reduction in the total state prison population. We're headed in the right direction. Now, the fact of the matter is, it's budgetary pressures putting that way. We're not seeing increases in crime as a result. The question is can we sustain that once the economy turns around? Can we understand? I mean, look, our country, people say we're the biggest drug users in the world. We're also the biggest consumers of almost everything in the world, because we're one of the biggest in this country. But our rates of drug use, illegal drug use, are not that different. They're a little higher than many other countries in Europe and elsewhere. We're not radically off the charts. And when it comes to nonviolent crime, we're also not so different than many European countries, right? We're higher on gun crimes and some things like that. But you know what? We lock up people, mostly our fellow citizens, at 5 and 6 and 7 times the rate of most other civilized nations. We're pursuing a policy of incarceration, a policy of mass incarceration that is not required to sustain public safety. And if anything, when you send people to prison, what are you doing? You're turning them into better criminals when they come out. You're exposing them to more criminality, and you're depriving them. You're making it that much less likely that they will ever have the opportunity to obtain a legal job and legal work and become a tax-paying family person.